Welcome back to Zcoin. Today, we're diving deep into the incredible world of Washington quarter dollar coins. These aren't your everyday pocket change, these are the rarest, most valuable Washington quarters ever struck. Some are so scarce that collectors have paid millions to own them. So before you toss away that old change, you might want to check if you're holding a small fortune. Let's count down the top 7 most valuable Washington quarter dollar coins in history, and their current market values will blow your mind. We're diving deep into one of the most talked about coins in modern U.S. numismatics, the 1983 quarter dollar. While many people dismiss quarters as ordinary pocket change, those in the know understand that the 1983 Washington quarter can be worth much more than its face value. In fact, depending on its condition and mint mark, it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars today. So why is the 1983 quarter so special? Let's start with a bit of historical context. The 1983 quarter is part of the Washington Quarter series, which began in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. But 1983 was no ordinary year for coin production. Coming off the heels of the economic turbulence of the late 1970s and early 80s, the United States Mint was scaling back certain programs, and crucially, they did not produce any uncirculated mint sets in 1982 or 1983. This had a major impact. What does that mean for collectors? Simply put, it means that every 1983 quarter you see today was released directly into circulation. There were no mint sets, no carefully preserved examples, and no special handling. These coins were meant to be spent. So finding a 1983 quarter in pristine condition, especially one with a mint mark and strong strike, is like finding a needle in a haystack. That scarcity is part of what makes them so valuable today. Now let's talk about the mint marks. In 1983, quarters were minted at 3 different locations: Philadelphia, which had no mint mark, Denver with the D mint mark, and San Francisco with the S mint mark. The San Francisco quarters were proof coins, struck with specially polished dies and intended for collectors. Most of the valuable 1983 quarters on the market today come from the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Among them, the 1983p, that's the Philadelphia mint with no mint mark, is especially noteworthy. Due to weaker striking and lower quality control at the time, many of the Philadelphia quarters from 1983 have soft details invisible where even when barely circulated. So finding a 1983p in mint state condition is extremely rare. In fact, a pristine 1983p quarter graded MS65 or higher can sell for well over $500. Some have sold at auction for as much as $1,500 depending on eye appeal and die characteristics. One of the most sought-after varieties of the 1983p quarter is the one with the famous spitting eagle reverse. This die variety shows what looks like a line or spit coming from the eagle's beak due to a die crack. It's a fan favorite among error collectors and can increase the value of the coin significantly, especially when found in higher grades. Values for this variety can range from $100 in circulated condition to $800 or more in mint state. Now, turning our attention to the 1983D from the Denver Mint. These are a little easier to find in better condition, but they too are valuable. A 1983D quarter in MS65 or better can still command a price between $100 and $300. What collectors especially look for here are full strike details, particularly the clarity of Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers. So what's driving these high prices? The answer is twofold: rarity in condition and collector demand. Because these coins were only released into circulation, most have wear and tear. Uncirculated examples are rare, and certified high-grade versions are rarer still. Combine that with growing interest in modern U.S. coinage and you get a recipe for rising prices. Let's not forget about error coins. 1983 quarters with off-center strikes, broad strikes, double dies, or die clashes can sell for hundreds, sometimes even thousands of dollars. The U.S. Mint was not operating with the same technological precision we see today, so 1983 offers a surprising number of collectible error coins. Always check your change carefully. What looks like a flaw could be a fortune. As of the current market, based on auction data and dealer listings in 2025, here are some ballpark values for 1983 quarters. Circulated 1983p quarter, typically worth 25 cents to a few dollars unless it shows signs of a rare variety or error. An uncirculated 1983p in MS65 ranges from $400 to $900. Spitting eagle variety in mint state, $300 to over $1,000. A 1983D in MS65 Around $100 to $250, more if. Exceptionally well-struck proof 1983 S quarters, typically worth $5 to $15 unless graded PF70 deep cameo error coins, highly variable, ranging from $50 for minor errors to over $1,500 for dramatic ones. So what should you look for if you want to spot a valuable 1983 quarter? Number 1, check the mint mark. If there's no mint mark, it's from Philadelphia. Examine the coin's surfaces under good lighting. Look for sharp details, minimal scratches, and luster, that brilliant shine you only get from coins that haven't been handled much. If you think you have something special, consider sending it in for grading by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. Also, keep your eyes peeled for the spitting eagle and other oddities. Use a magnifier or loupe to scan the reverse for die cracks or unusual patterns. Sometimes the difference between a 25-cent coin and a $1,000 coin is just a tiny line in the metal. In summary, the 1983 quarter stands as a reminder that value can hide in plain sight. A coin you pull from a cup holder or coin jar could be worth a week's paycheck. Because there were no mint sets and limited quality control, truly exceptional examples of the 1983 quarter are rare and highly desirable. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone curious about your change, the 1983 quarter is a coin you definitely don't want to overlook. Where we dive deep into the fascinating world of coins, collectibles, and hidden treasures. If you're a collector, a history lover, or someone who just found an old coin in their change and wants to know if it's worth something, you're in the right place. Today we're talking about one specific coin that has stirred up excitement in the coin collecting world, the 1987 Washington quarter. That's right, the 1987 quarter. At first glance, it may look like just another coin in your pocket, but some rare versions of this coin can be worth big money. So stick around as we uncover everything from the history, mint marks, known errors, collector demand, and current market value. You won't want to miss this. Let's start with the basics. The 1987 Washington quarter is part of the standard Washington quarter series that began in 1932. These coins feature George Washington's profile on the obverse, or front, with the word Liberty, the motto, "In God We Trust," the year of minting, in this case, 1987, and of course, the mint mark if present. The reverse of the coin features the image of an eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches below, the classic reverse design used from 1932 until 1998. The 1987 quarter was made from a copper-nickel plaid composition and not silver, as silver quarters ended in 1964 for circulation. It weighs about 5.67 grams and has a reeded edge. In 1987, quarters were minted at 3 facilities across the United States: Philadelphia Mint, represented by no mint mark; Denver Mint, marked by the letter D; San Francisco Mint, marked by an S, which was used for proof coins only. Let's break these down. First, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 582 million quarters in 1987. That's a huge number. These coins do not have a mint mark and are generally considered common. Second, the Denver Mint struck even more, over 655 million. You'll find a small letter D on the obverse, just to the right of Washington's ponytail. And finally, the San Francisco Mint produced proof coins for collectors, about 4.2 million of them. These have an S mint mark and are not intended for circulation. These coins have a mirror-like background and sharp details that make them stand out. So now the big question: are any 1987 quarters actually worth a lot of money? Yes, but only in certain cases. Let's talk about errors and varieties. The everyday circulated 1987 quarters are worth face value, but coins with unusual minting errors can bring in hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. Some of the known rare error types include off-center strikes, where the coin design is misaligned; double die obverse, where parts of the design appear doubled, especially on "In God We Trust," or the date-clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin is literally missing clad layers, where the outer layer of the coin is gone. Showing a copper core. One famous example is a 1987 D quarter with a 15% off-center strike that sold for over $400. Another is a proof 1987 S quarter with a cameo finish graded PR70 deep cameo that fetched over $200 due to its pristine condition and rarity. So if you find a coin that looks weird, don't spend it just yet. Check it under a magnifying glass or take it to a local coin dealer for evaluation. Now let's talk grading. Coin grading plays a major role in determining value. Coins are graded from 1 to 70 using the Sheldon scale. A coin graded MS60 or above is considered mint state and uncirculated. If you have a 1987 quarter in pristine, untouched condition with full original luster and no visible wear. It could grade in the 60s. Coins graded MS67 or higher are especially rare for this date and can fetch $100 or more, depending on demand. Proof coins graded PR69 or PR70 can also be valuable to collectors, especially those looking to complete a full set of Washington quarters. Collectors are also interested in coins with full strike and sharp details, especially around Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers. Coins with weak strikes or heavy bag marks will be worth less. Now let's talk about what your 1987 quarter might be worth today. As of 2025, here's a general breakdown of market value. 1987p and 1987d quarters in circulated condition, 25 cents uncirculated MS63 grade, $1 to $5 high grade MS67 examples, $50 to $100 or more 1987s proof coin and PR69 deep cameo, $10 to $201987s proof coin and PR70 deep cameo, $150 to $250 known error coins, $100 to over $1,000 depending on rarity and condition. Remember that these prices fluctuate based on the market, collector demand, and the condition of the coin. A coin that sold for $500 5 years ago may sell for $300 or $800 today. So now that you know what to look for, how do you check if your coin is valuable? Start by getting a good magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Examine the coin closely for mint marks, doubling, and overall condition. Compare it to photos online of known errors or use resources like the PCGS Coinfax or NGC Coin Database. If you think you have a valuable coin, get it graded by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. This authentication adds legitimacy and can significantly raise the coin's value when you go to sell.to sell your coin. Consider eBay, heritage auctions, or even a local coin show. But always research and know what your coin is worth before accepting any offer. So there you have it, the complete guide to the 1987 Washington quarter. While most are worth just face value, a lucky few have the potential to be worth big bucks, especially if their error coins are in pristine condition. Today we're diving deep into two fascinating and often misunderstood U.S. quarter coins that have sparked curiosity and excitement across the numismatic community. We're talking about the 1999 DQarter Dollar, particularly those from the State Quarters program, and the mysterious 1787 mint-marked coin, a mark that often confuses collectors and casual enthusiasts alike. Are these coins worth hundreds? Thousands? Could they be hiding in your pocket change right now? Stay with us to uncover the historical secrets, minting anomalies, and real current market value of these coins in 2025. Segment 1. The 1999 DQarter Dollar. Let's start with the 1999 DQarter. In 1999, the U.S. Mint launched the 50 State Quarters program, one of the most popular coin releases in American history. That year alone saw the release of quarters honoring Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Georgia, and Connecticut. The D mint mark stands for the Denver Mint, where millions of these quarters were produced. Now, the 1999 D quarters are generally common, but not all of them. There are certain varieties and errors that make some of these quarters highly valuable. For example, the 1999 D Georgia quarter with a strong off-center strike or double die obverse has fetched hundreds of dollars in auctions. Even more sought after is the 1999 D Delaware quarter if it exhibits what's known as a spitting horse die crack, a die crack from the horse's mouth on the reverse. A strong, well-defined crack can bring in as much as $75 to $200 depending on condition. Let's talk numbers. As of 2025, standard circulated 1999 D State quarters are worth about 25 to 50 cents. In uncirculated condition, these coins might fetch $1 to $5. However, coins graded MS65 and higher by PCGS or NGC can bring in $15 to $50, depending on demand in specific state. Now let's talk about real rarities. Some of the 1999 D quarters were struck on experimental planchets, especially in the Delaware and Pennsylvania series. These were transitional errors, struck on what was meant to be Sacagawea dollar metal or foreign coin blanks. These specimens are exceptionally rare and have sold for thousands, yes, thousands of dollars. One 1999 D experimental Delaware quarter sold for over $10,000 at auction. So if you have 1999 D quarters, especially from the early part of the State Quarters program, examine them closely. Look for die cracks, off-center strikes, double dies, and unusual coloration or weight, which could indicate an experimental strike. Segment 2, the 1787 mint mark MYSTR. Now let's switch gears to a topic that's puzzled many collectors, coins marked with 1787. First, It's important to clarify a common misconception. The U.S. Mint did not exist in 1787. So how is it possible to have a coin dated that year? What people are often referring to are commemorative coins, replica coins, or state-themed quarters. For example, the 1999 Delaware quarter features Caesar Rodney on horseback and the date 1787 inscribed on it. That's not the coin's minting year, it's the year Delaware ratified the Constitution and became the first state in the Union. The confusion arises when people see 1787 and think they've found a colonial-era coin. In truth, any actual 1787 coin would most likely be a colonial or post-colonial issue, like a Fugio cent or a state-issued copper piece, not a federal quarter. If you have a coin with both 1787 and a modern mint mark like D or P, it's part of the modern state quarters program and its numismatic value depends on its condition and any minting errors, not the 1787 date. That said, if you do happen to have a real 1787 Fugio cent, you may be sitting on a rare and valuable coin. In good condition, they can range from $500 to over $10,000 depending on the variety and preservation. Let's now bring it to the present. As of mid-2025, the coin collecting market is seeing a steady rise in interest in state quarters, especially error coins and coins in high grade. Collectors are still actively hunting for mint errors from 1999, since that was the inaugural year of the program and subject to more production experimentation and inconsistencies. For certified coins, here's a quick guide to what you might expect in the current market: a 1999 D Delaware quarter, MS67 or better. $50 to $150 1999 D Georgia quarter with die break or cut error, $100 to $300 experimental planchet errors, $5,000 to $15,000 typical circulated 1999 D quarters, face value to $1. Now for coins marked with 1787, again, unless you're holding a colonial coin like the Fugio cent or a Connecticut copper, the 1787 marking on modern quarters is symbolic. These quarters are worth their collector value only if they are in pristine condition or contain significant mint errors. So how do you know if your 1999 D or 1787 marked coin is valuable? Here are a few simple tips. Look at the mint mark. D means Denver, and these can be error-rich. For 1999 quarters, to examine for errors, use a magnifying glass to check for doubling, cracks, cuds, off-center strikes, or unusual planchet color or weight. Consider grading. Coins graded by PCGS or NGC get the most attention from serious collectors. Keep coins in protective holders. Condition matters. Even a small scratch can drastically lower value. Do your research. Check recent sales on auction sites and reference databases to know what's hot in the market. To wrap up, the 1999 D quarter, especially those with minting errors or in high grades, can indeed be worth more than face value, and in some rare cases, they can be worth thousands. As for the 1787 mark on coins, remember, it's a historical reference, not the coin's date of minting. But if you do have an actual colonial-era coin from 1787, you might want to get that authenticated immediately. Keep searching, stay curious, and don't forget that even the most ordinary-looking pocket change might carry hidden history or unexpected value. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more coin facts and values, and drop a comment below telling us what rare coins you found lately. Today we're diving deep into one of the most surprising modern coins, the 2001 D quarter from the State Quarter series. It's not just pocket change. Some of these coins are worth serious money today. Let's break down the hidden value behind this seemingly ordinary coin and what makes some versions of it so collectible. So let's start with a bit of background. The 2001 D quarter is part of the U.S. Mint's 50 State Quarters program. This program ran from 1999 to 2008 and was created to honor each of the 50 U.S. states with unique designs on the reverse of the quarter. In 2001, 5 states were honored: New York, North Carolina, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Kentucky. And now, the D Mint mark you see on the coin stands for the Denver Mint. Denver struck hundreds of millions of quarters that year. For example, the 2001 D New York quarter had a mintage of over 619 million coins. That might make you think these coins are too common to be worth much. But here's the twist: some of them are hiding rare errors, high-grade conditions, or have unique appeal that collectors are willing to pay big money for. One of the things that drives up a coin's value is a mint error. And yes, the 2001 D quarter series has some interesting errors that can sell for way more than face value. Let's talk about the most notable ones: die cracks. These are raised lines on the coin that occur when a die used to strike the coin becomes worn or cracked. On some 2001 D quarters, especially from North Carolina and Kentucky, collectors have reported prominent die cracks, sometimes on Washington's face or on the reverse architecture like buildings or trees. Some die cracks are dramatic enough to push values up to $10 to $50 depending on the visibility and size. Off-center strikes. These errors happen when the coin isn't perfectly aligned when struck. If you find a 2001 D quarter that's off-center by 10% or more, especially if the date is still visible, you might be looking at a $50 to $150 coin, clipped planchets. That's when a piece of the coin's metal is actually missing due to an error in cutting the blank planchet. A clipped 2001 D quarter can bring in around $20 to $100, depending on the size and severity of the clip. Double die errors. While not as common in 2001 D quarters, always check for doubling on letters and numbers, particularly in the word Liberty or the state name on the reverse. If you find clear doubling, that coin could be worth hundreds. Now let's talk about condition. This is huge for collectors. Most coins in circulation are worn down, scratches, dings, and discoloration. But if you find a 2001 D quarter that's in mint condition, what we call MS or mint state, it could be worth more than you think. Grading companies like PCGS or NGC assign grades from MS60 to MS70. A 2001 D quarter graded MS67 or higher becomes significantly valuable, especially for coins like the 2001 D Kentucky quarter. Why? Because while millions were struck, very few have survived in pristine condition. To give you some real numbers, an MS67 example of a 2001 D North Carolina quarter has sold for up to $200. And if you're lucky enough to find an MS68? That could hit upwards of $400 or more at auction. Yes, for a 25-cent piece. So, how much is your 2001 D quarter worth today? If it's a regular circulated coin with no errors and heavy wear, it's worth 25 cents, maybe slightly more to someone finishing a state quarter album. But if it's in brilliant uncirculated condition, or has a known error, the story changes. On the current market, eBay and major auction houses like Heritage Auctions have seen the following price ranges. Off-center 2001 D quarters sell between $40 to $120 depending on percentage off and visibility of the date. Die crack errors or retained die break coins sell for $10 to $60 depending on prominence. Graded MS66 coins typically range between $20 to $60. Graded MS67 coins can command $100 to $250 depending on the specific state and demand. In MS68s? That's where you see the $400 to $800 range for coins with perfect luster and strike. So if you've got a stash of state quarters or a coin jar full of Denver Mint coins from 2001, it might be time to get out a magnifying glass and take a closer look. Here are some quick tips if you want to search for valuable 2001 D quarters. First, check the mint mark. It should be a clear D below the "In God We Trust" motto on the obverse. Next, inspect for errors. Use a 10x magnifying glass or coin loop to look closely at the lettering and images. Compare your coin's luster and strike quality to photos of MS65 plus coins online. If yours has sharp details and zero scratches, it might be worth grading. If you find something unusual, do your research and check completed listings on sites like eBay or Heritage Auctions. And finally, if you think you've got a gem, consider sending it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. It could turn a 25-cent coin into hundreds of dollars. So there you have it. The 2001 D quarter might seem common, but with a little attention to detail and a keen eye, you could uncover something really special. Whether it's an off-center error, a beautiful mint state specimen, or a quirky die break, these modern coins are proving that not all treasure is old and buried. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most mysterious and valuable state quarters ever released by the U.S. Mint, the 2004 D Wisconsin quarter. And now, you might be thinking, it's just another state quarter, right? Wrong. This little coin has taken the numismatic world by storm, all because of a tiny but powerful detail: a leaf. Stick around because I'm about to break down everything you need to know about this unique coin, how it came to be, what to look for, and how much it could be worth today. Let's get into it. In 2004, the U.S. Mint continued the popular 50-state quarters program by releasing the Wisconsin quarter. Like all state quarters, the reverse design honors the state's heritage. For Wisconsin, the coin features a cow, a wheel of cheese, and a cornstalk, a nod to the state's rich dairy and agricultural traditions. But when the Denver Mint pressed these quarters, something very odd slipped through, or perhaps was added deliberately. And that's where the story of the infamous extra leaf Wisconsin quarters begins. There are two main varieties of this error coin. One is known as the extra leaf high, where a distinct extra leaf appears high up on the left side of the cornstalk. The other is called the extra leaf low, where the extra leaf is positioned lower and appears more droopy. Now, keep in mind, neither of these leaves is part of the original design by artist Alfred Moletsky. That makes them an anomaly, and anomalies in the coin world often mean big money. Many numismatists speculate that the leaf was added to the die intentionally, possibly as a form of mischief or even sabotage. Whether it was a deliberate engraving or an accidental gouge, the result is the same, a unique die variety that collectors want in their hands. So, just how rare are these coins? Well, the Denver Mint struck over 226 million Wisconsin quarters in 2004. But only a small number, perhaps in the tens of thousands, have the extra leaf varieties. That makes them quite rare when compared to the total mintage, but rarity isn't the only factor in value. The condition of the coin, especially its grade, plays a huge role. Let's talk market values. As of 2024 and now into 2025, circulated examples of the extra leaf low or extra leaf high typically fetch between $100 and $300 depending on eye appeal. But uncirculated or graded examples in MS65 and above can easily hit the $1,000 to $3,000 range. In fact, one example graded MS67 by PCG is sold for over $6,000 at auction. That's a huge return for a coin that originally had a face value of just 25 cents. Let's talk about how you can tell if you have one. First, make sure your coin is a 2004 Wisconsin quarter with a D mint mark. That means it was minted in Denver. Coins with the P mint mark from Philadelphia do not have the extra leaf varieties. Next, look closely at the cornstalk on the reverse side. You'll want to focus on the bottom left section, where the husk meets the base of the stalk. If you see an additional protrusion resembling a leaf either high or low, then congratulations, you just might have a valuable coin in your hand. For best results, use a jeweler's loupe or a coin microscope. Lighting is key. That extra leaf can be subtle, and it helps to view the coin from different angles. If you think you found one, consider sending it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC for authentication. A certified grade not only boosts the value but makes it easier to sell. And now let's talk about what's happening in the market today. As of 2025, the numismatic market is still going strong, especially for modern errors and varieties. Demand for the Wisconsin extra leaf quarters remains high. Online auctions continue to see bidding wars over well-preserved specimens. Coins that were once selling for a few $100s in the early 2010s are now selling for thousands if the condition is pristine. Why is this happening? Partly because more people are becoming aware of these rarities through social media and YouTube channels like this one. More eyes are on coins, and more collectors are entering the hobby every day. Also, as fewer of these coins remain in circulation and more are placed into collections or graded holders, the supply continues to shrink, and that drives prices higher. So, what should you do? First, check your pocket change. Yes, it's rare, but it's not impossible to find a 2004 D Wisconsin quarter with the extra leaf, especially in rolls of state quarters or old change jars. Second, educate yourself. Learn the difference between genuine extra leaf varieties and common damage or wear. There are plenty of online resources and reference images available. Today we're diving into the world of the 2015 DQarter Dollar coin. These coins might seem ordinary at first glance, but some versions are worth far more than face value, in some cases, hundreds or even thousands of dollars. So stick around as we uncover what makes the 2015 DQarter special, what errors to look for, and how much they're really worth in today's market. Let's start with the basics. The 2015 quarter is part of the America the Beautiful Quarters program, which began in 2010 and ran through 2021. In 2015, the United States Mint released 5 different designs, each honoring a national site. Those included Homestead National Monument in Nebraska, Kisatchie National Forest in Louisiana, Blue Ridge Parkway in North Carolina, Bombay Hook National Wildlife Refuge in Delaware, and Saratoga National Historical Park in New York. Now the Mint Mark P stands for the Philadelphia Mint, where a large number of quarters are produced. And because billions of quarters are struck each year, most 2015 DQarters are only worth face value. However, there are a few key exceptions, and those are what we're focusing on today. Here's where it gets exciting. While most people have a 25-cent coin in their hand, a trained eye might spot a treasure. There are several known error varieties for the 2015 DQarters that make them highly sought after by collectors. Let's take the Homestead quarter as our first example. Some of the most valuable error coins in this series come from this design. look for the double die reverse, or DDR. One of the most famous DDR errors shows doubling on the windows of the house, particularly the bottom window on the left. These types of errors are not easy to find, but when you do, you could be looking at a coin worth $50 to $100 or more depending on condition. Another variety is the snow on the roof error, an unusual die chip that gives the illusion of snow piled up on the roof of the house. These die chips are quite popular and can sell for $10 to $25 in circulated condition. Higher prices apply to uncirculated versions. The Kisachi quarter also has a notable DDR, where you might see doubling on the trees or leaves. Again, values can vary depending on condition and visibility of the doubling, but it's not uncommon to see these listed between $25 and $75 online. Then there's the Bombay hook and Saratoga designs. These tend to have fewer documented errors, but off-center strikes, die clashes, and strike-throughs have been reported. These types of minting flaws can bring in anywhere from a few bucks to over $100, especially if the coin remains in mint state condition. Now you might be wondering, how can you tell if your 2015 P quarter is worth money? It starts with a close inspection. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe and examine key areas like the windows, lettering, leaves, and objects in the foreground. Look for doubling, chips, or any signs that the design is misaligned or oddly formed. Condition also plays a huge role. Coins graded MS65 and above, that's mint state, are especially desirable. If your coin appears untouched, with full luster and no visible wear, it's worth considering professional grading. So, what's the current market value of these coins in 2025? As of now, regular 2015 P quarters in circulated condition are still worth face value. But the rare error versions, especially those graded by third-party services like PCGS or NGC, can command serious premiums. For example, a 2015 P Homestead DDR in mint state 67 recently sold for over $200 at auction. Snow on the roof varieties regularly sell in the $20 to $50 range, even in lower mint states. Meanwhile, off-center strikes from any 2015 P quarter can reach prices of $50 to $150 if the error is significant, and here's the kicker: some of these coins are still out there in circulation. That means checking your pocket change, rolls from the bank, or even coin jars at home could yield big rewards. If you think you found a valuable 2015 P quarter, your next step is proper handling. Do not clean the coin, this can destroy its numismatic value. Place it in a soft flip or a coin capsule to protect it. You may want to send your coin to a professional grading service. The cost for grading starts around $30 to $50, so make sure the potential value of the coin justifies the fee. When it comes to selling, platforms like eBay, heritage auctions, or dedicated coin shows can offer the best exposure in competition. Always include clear photos, a description of the error or condition, and if applicable, certification info. So there you have it. The 2015 P quarter may look like any ordinary coin, but for those who know what to look for, it could be a small fortune hiding in plain sight. Keep an eye out for doubling, die chips, and off-center strikes, and remember that condition is key. Today's episode is a deep dive into one of the most talked about coins in recent U.S. mint history, the 2022 D-Mint Mark quarter dollar. You've probably seen one in your change, but did you know that some versions of this quarter are worth far more than 25 cents? In fact, certain errors and varieties are fetching hundreds, even thousands, of dollars in the current market. Stick around, because we're breaking down the full history, key design features, known errors, collector demand, and the top values you need to know about for the 2022 DQarter. Let's begin with a little background. The 2022 quarters are part of the American Women Quarters program, a new series launched by the U.S. Mint that honors extraordinary women in American history. The coin we're focusing on today is the 2022 quarter minted in Denver, indicated by the D-Mint mark just to the right of Washington's ponytail on the obverse side. In 2022, 5 different designs were released as part of this series. The women featured were Maya Angelou, Dr. Sally Ride, Wilma Mankiller, Nina Otero Warren, and Anna May Wong. Each design was released sequentially throughout the year. Now, all of these quarters were minted at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. But today we're zoning in on the Denver Mint strikes, the D-Mint mark, because some of these coins have gained significant attention among collectors. So what's the big deal with the 2022 D quarter? After all, it's a modern coin and millions were minted. While that's true, not all 2022 D quarters are created equal. The real value comes down to condition, scarcity and high grades, and most importantly, errors in die varieties. For example, coin struck with weak or misaligned dies, double dies, or struck through grease can command impressive premiums. One of the most famous errors discovered in the 2022 D series was a die chip on the Maya Angelou design, commonly referred to as the drooling George error. This odd but sought-after variety features a die chip that looks like drool coming from George Washington's mouth. Another known variety is a doubled die reverse on the Anna May Wong quarter, visible especially in her name and the inscriptions. Let's talk specifics. Here are some of the most sought-after errors and varieties you should look for in your 2022 DQarters die chip errors, particularly those appearing on George Washington's face, hair, or under the chin. These can fetch between $10 to $100 depending on size and prominence. Doubled die obverse or reverse, especially noticeable in inscriptions like "In God We Trust," "Liberty," or the featured woman's name. High-grade examples can sell for over $150. Struck-through errors, coins where grease or debris interfered with the striking process. These are rarer and can range from $50 to several $100s depending on the severity. Off-center strikes, although uncommon, these are always a favorite among error collectors and can bring in $100 or more. Cut errors, a result of die breakage, these create raised blobs on the coin, often around the rim, and are valued up to $200. Now let's move into how condition affects value. Most 2022 DQarters in circulated condition are still only worth face value. However, in mint state condition, graded MS65 or higher, their value starts to rise. Here's a quick breakdown of approximate current market values. MS63, around $2 to $5. MS65, $10 to $25. MS67, $50 to $150. MS68 and higher, $200 to over $500 depending on demand, and rarity grading plays a crucial role. So if you believe you have a high-quality specimen or an error coin, it might be worth submitting it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Collector interest in the American Women Quarters series is growing. The fact that these quarters are relatively new gives modern collectors a chance to get in early. Much like the state quarters program from the early 2000s, these coins are being saved by the roll, which could limit their circulation lifespan. As these coins age, high-grade and error varieties may become increasingly difficult to find, thereby driving up prices. The 2022 DQarters, especially the early designs like Maya Angelou and Dr. Sally Ride, were quickly scooped up by collectors, so finding a high-grade one in circulation today is getting harder by the month. Let's look at what these coins are actually selling for today. On eBay and other numismatic marketplaces, here are some verified recent sales. A 2022 D Maya Angelou quarter with the drooling George error in MS66 sold $4.215. A raw Anna May Wong D quarter with a prominent double die reverse went $4.125. A full roll of uncirculated 2022 D quarters sold for around $35 to $50 depending on the design. These aren't isolate. If you want to find valuable 2022 D quarters, here are a few tips. Always check your change. Grocery stores, vending machines, and fast food restaurants are great places to spot recent coinage. Use a 10x jeweler's loupe or USB microscope to look closely at details. Check the US Mint's website or coin forums for updated error reports. When selling, include high-resolution images of the coin's obverse, reverse, and any error close-ups. Honest descriptions lead to better bids. So there you have it. The 2022 D Mint Mark quarter dollar might just be hiding in your pocket change, waiting to be discovered. From small die chips to major double dies, this coin proves that even modern currency can pack a punch when it comes to collectible value. If you like this deep dive and want more videos like this, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. Drop a comment below if you found a 2022 D error quarter or if you want us to cover another coin in the future. Thanks for watching, and remember, every coin tells a story, and some are worth a lot more than 25 cents.